Today we'll be delving into the realm of a science fiction film known as Inuyashiki. Ichiro, a middle-class man, recently purchased a new home for his family, but their lack of appreciation hurts him as they complain about how small it is compared to neighboring houses. Despite buying sushi to celebrate, his family opts for a restaurant outing without him, leaving Ichiro to enjoy the celebration alone. At work, Ichiro faces criticism from his boss for a new project involving energy drinks, causing financial losses for the company. Publicly apologizing, he endures his manager's scolding in front of his colleagues. Outside his house, Ichiro encounters a stray dog named Hanako, feeling an immediate connection with the dog. Despite his wife's insistence to get rid of her, Ichiro's life takes a turn when he receives news of stage 4 cancer with only 3 months to live. He wants to share this with his family, but they are too busy in themselves and blame him for everything. Walking Hanako in the streets, Ichiro wonders whether his family would mourn him after death. He tries to leave the dog behind, then realizes she is the only one caring for him. Apologizing for abandoning Hanako, Ichiro met another man named Hiro in the park. Suddenly, a bright light hits them, and both lose consciousness as strange creatures surround them. Upon awakening, Ichiro discovers his perfect vision without glasses and newfound abilities. Returning home, he finds that he cannot taste food and experiences extreme thirst. Smoke emanates from his left hand, transforming into a rifle that shoots soup he had earlier. As his body undergoes a mechanical transformation, his wife enters the room. It turns out that Ichiro's daughter, Mary, attends the same class as Hiro, the man who was with Ichiro the previous night. Hiro confides in his friend Choco, revealing the power he gained from their encounter by demonstrating his ability to shoot a bird from a distance using his fingers. Later, Hiro takes Choco to an underground parking area to showcase his mind-controlling prowess over cars and unveils his mechanical body. Simultaneously, Ichiro, leaving work, encounters an injured pigeon and surprisingly heals it, started flying. Upon hearing a distant voice of suffering, he rushes to a hospital. There, he heals a boy close to death from a terminal illness, experiencing the joy of saving a life. On the other hand, we learn about Hiro's mother, who, despite being betrayed by her ex-husband, cares for Hiro's well-being and encourages him to spend time with his father. During a dinner with his father's new family, Hiro's resentment intensifies, feeling that their happiness was stolen from his mother. While playing with his half-brother, Hiro contemplates using his powers against his father's family, but ultimately refrains, realizing he still cares for his father. Walking home alone, Hiro becomes increasingly resentful, breaking into a house and committing a heinous act. Ichiro, hearing about the incident from the hospital after saving more lives, rushes to the scene, finding a young girl with a fatal gunshot wound. Attempting to save her with his powers, Ichiro realizes his abilities only work on living creatures. He encounters Hiro, whom he recognizes from the park, but before Ichiro can speak, Hiro attacks him, sending him flying. Unharmed, Ichiro witnesses Hiro flying off into the distance. Meanwhile, Choco meets Hiro, suspecting him of the murders. Hiro admits to the killings, justifying his actions, believing he has become a god. He argues that strangers die every day, and they shouldn't feel sorry for people they don't know. Refusing to accept this rationale, Choco backs away in fear, ending their friendship and running away from the murderer. Hiro returns home to his mother, and to his astonishment, she informs him that he must now live with his father. She reveals that she has inoperable cancer, and the doctors have given her a short time to live. Overwhelmed with emotion, Hiro embraces his mother, vowing never to let her die. Meanwhile, Ichiro arrives home and shares the news of his demotion with his family. The wife expresses concern about the mortgage, while the daughter directs her anger at her father's perceived incompetence. Ichiro reflects on his inability to protect his family and doubts his capacity to prevent further murders and assist others. Suddenly, he hears Choco's voice praying for someone to stop his best friend from committing more crimes. This prompts Ichiro to overcome his self-doubt and use his powers to intervene. Transforming into his robot form, Ichiro takes to the sky with Hanako, determined to stop Hiro. He meets Choco in the park, and they discuss the events of that night. Choco speculates that both Ichiro and Hiro might have been reconstructed by aliens, possessing similar abilities. They decide to train Ichiro based on what they observed Hiro doing. Heading to a junkyard where Ichiro attempts to shoot a tin can, it becomes evident that Ichiro has much training ahead before he can rival his adversary. On the other side, Hiro accompanies his mother to the doctor, only to discover that her cancer has miraculously disappeared, likely due to Hiro healing her with his powers. They walk home together, and Hiro tries to convince his mother to enjoy life, promising to make her happy. However, their happiness is short-lived when police officers arrive to question Hiro about the murders. He escapes, tossing the officers around and using his powers to eliminate 3 of them. Hiro becomes a fugitive, and the news of his escape spreads through the media. Fortunately, he met Zion, who decides to take him in despite his status. Zion is living with her grandmother, as her parents died of illness years ago, and she believes she may not have long to live either. Meanwhile, Ichiro makes progress in his training but experiences fatigue and thirst. Grabbing an energy drink from his company, he and Choco speculate that the liquid may fuel their bodies. Similar to water, Ichiro feels pain in his body and shoots out the liquid, realizing it might be the sodium contents causing his body to malfunction. Choco sees potential in using this information to their advantage later. During the night, Hiro watches the news about his mother, only to witness the public blaming her for his crimes. Despite her repeated apologies, she receives no sympathy. Overwhelmed, Hiro falls into tears, realizing that the repercussions of his actions now weigh heavily on the person he loves most. The news further informs him that they found his mother dead in her apartment, apparent victim of suicide under media pressure. In shock, Hiro reads comments cursing his mother's name, fueling his rage. Using his powers, he hacks into commenters' computers, causing widespread mortality as people drop dead after viewing their devices. Shion finds Hiro unable to sleep and attempts to comfort him, but he confesses to her about being responsible for the deaths. Transforming before her, he tries to scare her away, but she refuses to believe he's a killer. Hiro takes her to the sky, realizing she's the only person left who cares about him. He promises to protect her and stay with her forever, finally finding solace and sleep. Shion, smiling, notes Hiro's humanity. In the kitchen, she encounters an army of soldiers pointing guns at her. Hiro intervenes, killing the soldiers, but discovers Shion dead with multiple gunshot wounds. Grieving her loss, Hiro resolves to exact revenge. Ichiro sees news reports about the murders and warns his family to turn off their phones, but they disregard the danger. Meanwhile, Mary joins friends on a high-rise to enjoy the scenery. Hiro broadcasts his intentions to destroy the country to avenge his family, initially met with disbelief until he starts shooting. Ichiro hijacks the signal, and Choco urges people to discard their phones to thwart the attacks. Unable to reach the people, Hiro decides to attack humanity directly, firing missiles at the city and causing explosions. Ichiro confronts Hiro, attempting to convince him to stop, but his pleas fall on deaf ears. The two engage in an aerial pursuit through the city, narrowly avoiding missiles and navigating underground tunnels. As they approach Mary, Ichiro hears her pleas for help as her building is struck by a missile. He rushes towards his daughter but is ambushed by Hiro from behind, disrupting his flight system and causing a crash landing on the side of a building. Ichiro attempts to shoot at Hiro, but the young man evades the attacks and kicks Ichiro through a building. The collision with a helicopter sends debris toward the walls, resulting in an explosion. They land on a rooftop, where Ichiro pleads with Hiro to cease his actions. Hiro takes out a bottle of water to recharge, but Ichiro destroys it. Undeterred, Hiro charges at Ichiro, seizing the water and drinking it before firing missiles, sending Ichiro into the sky. The chase continues into the atmosphere, with more missiles launched at Ichiro, who is pushed into outer space. In a surprise move, Ichiro shoots out the energy drink he had replaced the water with, causing malfunctions in Hiro's body. Ichiro transforms his arm into a rifle and fires at Hiro, sending him flying towards Earth with explosions. Ichiro flies towards the building where his daughter lies motionless. He manages to revive her, and they share a tearful embrace. Suddenly, Hiro returns, having survived the fall, seeking vengeance. Learning that Mary is Ichiro's daughter, Hiro attacks her, shooting her stomach, throwing Mary off the building. Ichiro catches her before hits the ground. He charges his energy and flies towards Hiro and destroys him. After being healed by her father, Mary realizes that her old father is a superhero. Ichiro, continuing to save lives, Choco goes home and is surprised to find that Hiro is still alive but missing an arm. Grateful to see his friend survived, Choco invites him to play the newest video game. However, Hiro, knowing his presence would endanger his best friend, quietly leaves. As the movie concludes, the government confirms Hiro's death, though they haven't found his body except a few medals. Ichiro continues to dine with family like before, but his daughter sees him as a superhero,